All right, I hope everyone is doing okay. Why can't I see myself? Oh, why it's showing? Oh my gosh, you guys. I got to change this. Oh my goodness, this is not me. Oh my god. Where's my face, you guys? Not extreme technical difficulties. Wow, let's see what's going on with this camera. It's not even the right name. Restream. Why? What is going on? I gotta refresh, you guys. It is okay. All right. All right. You can see me. I am live. Thanks for your patience. I had some technical difficulties. Let me know if you can hear me okay, everyone. All right. Hello and welcome to another edition of Addition. I'm your host, Addie Snowden. I'm a quantum life coach helping you jump into the reality of your dreams. You can always book with me at calendly.com/editionpod. That is calendly.com/editionpod. Let me just check my audio. Okay, my mic is plugged in. It's on. I got my AirPods in. Okay, I am ready for today's episode. Before we get into it, Substack now has short form video. So this is a reminder to subscribe to the Substack. I give you detailed show notes. I have links. It shows, like, you can see the actual videos in there. I have photos in there, and my real OG fans subscribe to the Substack. So you get the podcast and YouTube of the pod show directly into your email inbox. So it's additionpod, additionpod.substack.com. Okay. So today's episode is called The Truth About Self-Care. We're going to discuss other things, but as you guys know, I've moved to Thailand with my wife and our cat. It has been over 2 months now. We're almost at, or I don't know if we're almost at 2 months or almost at 3 months. Times is kind of flowing. And a lot of the purpose of this trip was for us to heal together, recover, and really self-care, really dive right into self-care for both of us. So, I wanted to talk about it because it's taken the past 2.5 months for me to even fully digest what self-care means to me. And we've been, sharing notes and learning from each other. And as someone who had learned about self-care, was listening to podcasts about self-care, I even have a book. I forgot to bring it with me so I could show you guys. I had ordered something called the Self-Care Workbook for women. I was actively looking for self-care at my last job. I had soft life on my cubicle. I was so committed to self-care, but I found a lot of the guidance around self-care was just not, it was not holistic. It wasn't taking into account everything that actually a person needs to fully be in self-care. And that's why I want to talk to you about the truth about self-care. So this is going to be a very personal episode. I'm definitely going to go into my self-care journey in more detail. Before I go too far into it, I do want to mention major shout outs to Jay Snow Wellness Show. So Jay Snow Wellness Show has been a huge part of my self-care journey. I'm going to include the link to her YouTube channel, as well as, her YouTube channel into the show notes, because Jay Snow has been incredibly instrumental in helping me get to my self-care journey. So if you're watching on TikTok live, Jay Snow is in the chat. She's liking the live. You can go ahead and follow her on TikTok. But yeah, so let's get into the truth about self-care. Okay, so a little bit of context, because everyone has a different upbringing, different family culture. So everyone's self-care journey is different. And so for you to get context as to how far I've come, I need to tell you about where I came from. So my self-care journey, I feel like as a child, I did have a lot of free time. And I think that's why we all look fondly back at childhood. We did have time for self-care. At the time, I was using it to read books. I had creative projects. I was drawing pictures. I was playing on my VTech. I was having, running around, eating snacks, eating, whatever. I didn't have to think about self-care. That was until I moved to the US, you guys. And this is not a US bashing podcast. I did recently become an expat from the US. And also, while I was born in the US, I spent my early childhood in the UK. So that's what I mean about when I came to the US. So I came to the US around 7 years old. That was when I had to start. Well, actually, it was a little bit older, because 7 years old, was I taking the bus? Yes, I was taking the bus at 7. And I remember, okay, for school, I had to set an alarm, you guys. As a child, I had to set an alarm for 6 a.m. to get on the American school bus. Okay, my dad worked full time in Dallas. We were living in the Dallas area at the time, and my mom was working part time. So they had to get to work. I needed to take the school bus, which is a normal part of American upbringing. It is not a normal part of the UK upbringing. Taking the bus is normal, but the school bus specifically is, I only experienced in the US, okay? And this school bus, 6 a.m. I needed to be up. And remember, I'm like a child, like 7 years old. It's not like I had a dramatic getting ready to do. It was literally just brush my teeth and wash my face. But to get to the school bus stop, which fortunately was literally my front yard, like shout out to everybody who had a home, um, and their home or their apartment, wherever you guys live, was the school bus stop. Like amazing. But anyway, just for me to get on time to school for second grade, I had to wake up at 6 a.m. and the bus stop was literally my front yard. Okay. My house was the bus stop. That is crazy. I'm sorry. People have normalized it. And, kids go to bed, there's a bedtime and all of that. But 6 a.m. wake up time alarm is crazy for a 7-year-old. Like that's giving military. Like, I'm sorry, that is too much. So all of a sudden, once I came to the US, I started dealing with like sleep deprivation, because I felt like I I was so tired in the morning. And eventually, when my brother joined us and I was in middle school and he was in high school, if I missed the bus, he could take me to work. Jason says 6 a.m. is crazy. It truly is. And I would miss the bus, which at the time was a form of my self-care. So my brother could take me to school, because it's not like that 6 a.m. bus pickup or whatever meant that I was going straight into class. You'd be sitting. I would be eating breakfast at school. I remember had time for a morning art class. Like that, I was way too early. But that's when the bus picked me up, and so it was awesome. Shout out to Charles for taking me to school so I could sleep in a little bit. So anyway, the whole point of this is that not prioritizing self-care, not prioritizing wellness starts really young in the US. It starts really young in the US. Like, again, in the UK, I was much younger, and, this is not apples to apples, but while I had to get up, like it was a peaceful wake up. I don't remember the stress and anxiety that I had with my US morning, because they will straight up leave you. The bus isn't there. No one's going to come to your door and knock on the door and be like, hey, where's little Sue? Hey, where's little Addie? They're going to leave you. So that's already like really high stress. And it's like, what happens if I get left? I'm going to be at home by myself all day without my parents. Like, You guys, that is really stressful. So anyway, just to childhood, like that was um sleep deprivation had already kicked in. Okay. So then, and also the food was terrible. I'm sorry. Food at school is not nutritious, and self-care, like eating and food is a really important part of it. That I did not find that food nutritious in any way. So I was nutrient deprived. Obviously my parents were supplementing. I'm not going to say, but like if I didn't have that, I was nutrient deprived, I was sleep deprived. Okay. And obviously, you know, like I don't even want to get into other levels of deprivation, but anyway, that's from 7 years old, right? And then high school, that was grade school. High school, I self-care was non-existent. I went to boarding school. We started college counseling freshman year, and we also had jobs starting freshman year. So it's like every Wednesday we would go. What would we do? Well, we didn't have jobs. It was starting sophomore year. Like every Wednesday sophomore year, we would go volunteer. Junior year, we worked on Capitol Hill. Senior year, we needed to get jobs. Plus college prep. And this is like researching colleges, SAT prep, thinking about your college essay, thinking about what classes you're gonna take in high school so you can get into the college you want. Like incredible, like at 14 thinking about 18, and that is helpful in terms of goal, like prepping and planning, but that was a lot of stress to put on 14-year-olds. um my self-care at that time, breakfast pizza wasn't nutrient dense. LOL, Jay Snow, that breakfast pizza. Oh my goodness. It was not. I mean, I would say that's probably one of the better ones because lunch pizza was literally just bread and cheese and had no nutrients whatsoever. Okay, so and my self-care in high school at the time, well, we had dances, right? So with and there was room for like partying and fun or whatever. But it was mainly the gym and sports, which in a all girls boarding school is going to get really toxic really quick. So like self-care is like running on the treadmill until you can't stop anymore, right? So there was just a lot of like things that people consider exercise self-care. That is self-torture for me. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very athletic person. This week, day before yesterday, Jolene and I went paddleboarding into the middle of the ocean. My arms are still sore. We got massages yesterday, but my body's still sore. This is not about being anti-athletics. However, high school athletics, especially when they're like, will help you get into college, it's not for fun. It is really intense. Our coaches pushed us really, really hard because they wanted us to be good. We still weren't good, y'all. I'm sorry. Our we were and I'm sure because we weren't getting enough self-care. So yeah. So, and then after high school, I took 3 gap years. That was all work. It was 2008. It was all work, 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 or figure out how to hustle, figure out there were no jobs. Like, I mean, it was crazy. College, I had multiple campus jobs. I had school. Post college, I realized I was ready for a break. Post college, I didn't go straight into corporate America. I did do corporate recruiting, but I didn't land a position before I graduated. So I was working as an artist and I was working as an entrepreneur. And that was probably the most chill time I had. But I obviously was looking too happy and carefree because a woman, and a much older woman, made it very clear to me that I was going to be ruining my life by not getting a real job. And I maybe had 6 months after I graduated college. I graduated in June and I started my first corporate job in October. So maybe 4 months, right? And then I started the corporate job. And as you guys know, when you get on that corporate grind, it is really easy to leave. It is really easy to leave. So I feel like I was trying to do a yoga class here or there. I was doing like therapy, group therapy, individual therapy. Like I was working on myself, but I was not taking baths. I wasn't doing anything healing for me. I feel like I was still having a really intense relationship with food. Like I wasn't like feeding myself as well as I could. And I was just focused on money, career success, money, career success, money, career success. Okay. So, and then, eventually I was like, this is too much for me. I decided to move to Florida. I saved enough to quit what my job was at that time in Vermont. And that was a really chill job, to be honest, but it was just causing me so much stress. So, I quit my job to work for myself and moved to Florida where I could be close to the beach, sun, be happy. I would say that was a huge self-care decision for me. And I was still focusing on my like mental health and wellness. Um, and then I started doing CrossFit, which was fun. Oh, a little dog came to visit me, so sweet. And and then COVID happened, which I feel like for a lot of people was the first time they were able to take self care really, really, really seriously. Because a lot of my self care issues were being forced to be around people, thinking that was the only way to live a life, especially as a single woman. Like I was in like church groups, I had a volleyball club, I had like, all sorts of groups that I was a part of. And part of that was because I, wanted to meet somebody, I want to get married, all of that. But I all of a sudden, what it really turned into was like free labor and volunteering for other people's missions and other people's um, communities. And I was just working, I was just adding jobs to myself, right? Um, so during COVID, I finally took the self care decision to move to Atlanta. There was a lot of like racial tensions in Florida at the time, and I needed to be in a more diverse environment. That was a self care journey. And so I moved to Atlanta. I also found myself a job that paid better for all the work that these jobs were demanding. And I at least started to have a semblance of self-care. I was getting my nails done. I started doing, which is a whole other side topic that I don't even want to go down. Like the nail spa should feel like a spa, but it doesn't. Sensory deprivation tanks were my first spa treatment, I would say I started getting for myself. It's really highly salinated water, so salty that you can float in it, and it's the temperature of your body. And they put you in this kind of like, um, you know, cave of sorts, cave pod where no light can come in, no sound can come in, and you just sit there in that water, which was really healing for me. But I had so much further to go. So when I met my wife, Jolene, we started off as friends, and she had taken time away from work. Like she was still working, but she was remote. She was making her own schedule, and she was also focusing on her spiritual business and focusing. She was traveling, and she was way ahead on that self-care journey than I was. So I latched on and learned so much through her. And when I say I was like kicking and screaming, like she would always tell me like, or just be looking at me crazy about like watching me work, watching me care, watching me do what I thought was normal and what everyone else was doing, which was like put all their energy and effort into their job, work, 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 all about the performance review, think about thinking about being laid off every other minute, like, and thinking about how to strategize to prevent being laid off, all of that. And that was just entirely too much in hindsight and not a full life. Like it's giving Voldemort uh, in the first Harry Potter when he's like living, he doesn't have a full body yet. And like that's what it was giving for me. Like I don't know, I was not even able to show up fully like in my own body. Like I mean, I feel like I had just removed and separated from my body, from myself, and was just a robot. I had got onto autopilot, and I'm just so grateful for Jillian being so patient, literally drinking unicorn blood. Jay Snow, that is so real. If you guys haven't watched Harry Potter, he's Voldemort needs to drink unicorn blood to regain some level of strength when he's living as this not even full human, you guys. Crazy comparison, but that was my reality, and I know that's a lot of you guys' reality. I know I'm not alone here, okay? And that's why I'm even sharing this story and being so open with you guys about how crazy I was, because our society, I feel like I was the example of what society wanted, just being super ambitious, super work driven, goal, go, like all of it, sacrifice myself. Okay. So finally, Jolene convinced me to take some time off of work, y'all. And that was the best thing I ever could have done for myself. Um, like honoring needs, and that's why I said the truth about self-care. It's like you can't just be like, oh, I'm taking a yoga class every Friday, that's my self-care. Or I knit on the weekends. It's, you can't, like, that's not self-care. Jalila, hey, Jalila just popped in. Getting my hair done was definitely a form of self-care. There's a saying that you can always tell what's going on with a woman based on her hair. And even moving to Atlanta, my hair healed. Jolene helped with that too, with that Moroccan oil. But let's get back to it. But yeah, I see the current conversation about self-care as if you can imagine being in a war zone, and then when you go back to camp, you take a bath. Like, that is the current example of self-care that I see. It's like, but how healing can that bath be if you're literally in the middle of the war zone? It's like, you can't self-care in pieces. Like, I'm reading this book called The Self-Care Workbook, and they talk about, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes a day sitting in the bathroom. And I understand that that's a start, but that is not going to solve anything but make you think that you're doing something for yourself if you're not looking to the left, looking to the right, looking up, looking down, and being like, what is causing me to even be unsettled? Thank you. Thanks. Wow. So true. So true. Thanks, you guys, for listening. Okay. I'm feeling like, seriously, people will be in the worst job ever and be like, oh, but I do ice baths and get my nails done and do a girls trip every other week and say that it's okay. Like, that is just not, that's scratching the surface and avoiding the gigantic iceberg underneath, which, for a lot of people, they're in a really bad job situation. For a lot of people, they have toxic relationships going on in their life. They need to address the core issue of what their unhappiness is. So the truth about self-care is that it needs to be a 360, okay? Not just a little piece of the pie, not just a 180. It needs to be a 360. It needs to be 360. I think my self-care, if I want to check how my self-care is, I'm going to, like, is my skin glowing? What does my smile look like? What is the quality of my hair? Like, am I feeling good in my body? Am I hydrated? Do I feel rested? Like, it's not just, am I doing something selfish or for me today? Carmen says she's having the same realization, you guys. So yeah, self-care, it needs to be so much more than what it is. And I think we started, Jolene and I, because while Jolene was ahead of me, like, we both went on this journey together. But one way that we started was just making sure that if we were paying for something, it needed to be satisfactory. And I had gotten to a habit, like, I would have the worst Uber ride ever and still give it 5 stars. I'd have like, and I stopped doing that. I started accurately assessing. Um, the service, the level of service if I got. If we went to a restaurant and I didn't like the food and I didn't like my meal, I gave it back, or I sent it back. And even if they didn't want to take the money, I'm still sending it back. Demanding what we deserve, especially when we're paying for it, For me, that was the first way that I was able to break through on my like actual true self-care. That's how Jelena and I noticed that our nails services was so poor. Like it was, we're spending so much, hundreds of dollars on our nails, and not even for anything super fancy, you guys. Um, every month, and not feeling like a spa like experience. Hey KK, you want to say hi to the audience? Our dog Lil came to visit. He's so sweet. You got to come in the camera, otherwise people are going to think I'm crazy. Y'all see him? Look right here. Look right here. You see him? All right. Well, he'll come if he, or you'll see him if he wants you to see him. He's a nice little German Shepherd that lives in our neighborhood. But yeah, it's like we got to start demanding services, demanding that we receive the services that we're expecting and what people are advertising. We got to accurately rate those Google reviews. Jolene always talks about the Google reviews. Oh, so sweet. He's, we just have to prioritize self care. I'll get into this more next episode, but I just want to talk about the type of self care that I'm doing now. It should feel good to spend your money. Yes, Jay Snow. Jay Snow, like I said, Jay Snow influenced a lot of my thoughts about self care, and definitely follow her Jay Snow Wellness Show. So in Thailand, we do day spas, and it's also way more affordable in Thailand to do day spas. And these day spas have steam room, sauna, cold plunge, ice bath, hot tub, and it's less than $5, you guys, for a whole day. They open at 9 a.m. and they close at 9 p.m. LOL. Jalila says, yes, leave those Google reviews. Oh my gosh. I had so much resistance to leaving Google reviews. But yeah, it's less than $5 and you're at the spa for the whole day, you guys. I don't, in America, it's so oppressively expensive to do something like that. And they really gatekeep self-care, like true actual healing self-care. You need like an expensive gym if you wanted even have access to a spa, sauna, or a steam room. But anyway, in Thailand, we're doing it for $5. Okay, we have the massage being such a huge part of the culture. I remember, working at Google, they give you a free massage for every year of service, as well as like when you join. And I was like, wow, I get a massage. Like, I feel like massages are so up on a pedestal. But for $10, you can get a fabulous hour-long massage here in Thailand. Okay. We go to the beach, and because we live on an island, there's like a million beaches. Like, it's never like scarce. Like in America, it's like if you want to rent a cabana, it's like $50, $100 if you want to rent a sunbed, and God forbid, be comfortable on the beach and not lug all of your stuff around. Okay, Thailand again, $5. You can rent a cabana all day for $5, and two people to sit down. Okay, sleep and rest. I would say that's something that took some time for us to even embrace for ourselves. But finally we're sleeping in, finally we're resting more. I would say that's one area that we could probably do better, because we like to stay up late, and sometimes I wake up early for things like this show. um, Hydration, these fabulous fresh coconuts. Okay, they have growing everywhere. One of the most hydrating and electrolyte filled beverages, which are these fresh coconuts. Fabulous. And you know I'm not going to talk about the monkeys that harvest the coconuts. I'm just really grateful that I have access to an infinite amount of fresh coconuts. I'm literally looking at a fresh coconut tree right now. Okay. So then, pharmacy and health. Like Jalila said, them coconuts are truth. Like, I don't need water. Exactly. First of all, water is nasty. I know this is a hot take. I know this is an incredibly spicy hot take, but water is nasty. Thank you, Jalila. She said she got my skin glowing. Amazing. But yes, coconut water is delicious. Like, that is my preferred water of choice. Okay. You can hate me if you want. I'm sorry. Uh, so pharmacy and health. You guys, we don't need to go to urgent care. First line defense is the pharmacy. And there's a pharmacy. It's like every other store is like pharmacy, cannabis shop, 7-Eleven, restaurant, bar, pharmacy. It starts over. Okay. So it's like there's a pharmacy and they have a pharmacist there. and they have time, they sit down and talk to you. Um, like the fact that we need health, and like I had some of the best health insurance most of my life in the US, Blue Cross Blue Shield, shout out. And they sucked. Like, it's not like it gave me a premium healthcare experience. It's not like it made it easier for me to book appointments. If I wanted to go to the doctor, I'd sometimes have to wait months to go see my doctor, my primary care. I had to talk to like physician assistants and stuff like that. No shade to physician assistants, no shade to any of nurse practitioners, but I had no access to a doctor when we were coming back, when we were coming to Thailand the second time, we needed to get shots. We had to go to Publix. I literally got my vaccines next to the cheese aisle. Like, crazy. Like, what America has this as standard for healthcare, for us to be paying as much money that we do is absolutely insane. Okay. So also just like taking time off work, we're able to listen to our bodies more, and we have completely outsourced cooking and cleaning and driving, completely outsourced, because it's actually affordable to clean a 2 and a 2.5 bedroom home. It's about probably like $20 to $25 to, and so we can do that weekly. Cooking, um I'm sorry, I can't stand cooking. I can't. I can't. And Julina's a fabulous cook. But I know she didn't feel like it all the time, slash most of the time. And the grocery store used to be the bane of our existence, y'all. Like, I never wanted to go. I never wanted to go. So now we can do Uber Eats every day. Essentially, it's called Grab. And it is so incredibly affordable. Carmen asked, do you live in walking distance to the beach? Yes, we do live in walking distance from one beach. It's not like our favorite or preferred beach, but that was like, we were like, we need to be within 10 minutes walk from the beach. And we're about like 15 to 20 minutes walk from the beach. Yes, amazing. It's fabulous. So cooking, we doing that Uber Eats or going to restaurants, and cleaning, I already talked about that, and driving. We take motorcycle taxis, which I've always loved. It's so cheap. Like, we're talking about cents, pennies to get to go like a couple miles, a few miles, you know? So something in America is like they glamorize labor, like they glamorize cars when driving is a job. But they make it like luxury, but driving is a job. Everyone who is driven in traffic. No laundry. Yes, Jolene, we have outsourced our laundry. Our laundry ladies are so sweet, and they're right around the corner, and they charge per kilo, and it's a negligible amount for these, and it's just wash and fold, and it looks like they ironed it because of how tight and neatly they have folded. Like, I will show you one of these, how our laundry arrives. It's literally mind blowing. It's like if you got dry cleaned and they don't include those terrible wire hangers. All right, so yeah, I forgot what I was even talking about now, but outsourcing, we're actually doing our self-care, and it's still taken us, first of all, it's taken us like 2 months to even get to that point. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, when we got here, Jolene was doing laundry. I was used to be the laundry person in our household back in the US, and I'm like, why are you doing laundry? It was crazy. So it took 2 months for us to even get on a spa schedule, get on a laundry schedule, like all of it, start getting massages. Like, the level of unwinding and unpacking from our negligent self-care was so much. Okay, so yeah, so that's where we are now. Let me know if you have any more questions. Carmen says, how much do you budget per month for everything, including housing? Oh my gosh, Carden. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not going to answer that question because it's probably going to seem like a lot of money. If you're trying to let me know in the comments if you're trying to move to Thailand to save money, or live like a frugal life, because as I've just shared, we're living a luxury life. While things are cheaper here, we're not making any sacrifices. We wanted to level up in our cost of living. So that's we spend in that cash, okay? In Thailand, we're not. I would say spend more than a lot of people spend in the U.S. for their own expenses. So you can't even. I don't even want to tell you that. But if you ask me about specific expenses, I can tell you roughly how much they cost per. Yes, and also we live in Phuket. Thailand is a huge company. Phuket is a tiny island, so um, all of the costs that I'm even saying here it's going to be way cheaper somewhere else in Thailand. But why would you want to live anywhere else? Okay, so please continue to ask questions. Thanks for enjoying my sassy answer. But yeah, there's a really, really good life out here. And let's not even talk about like unpacking, not having to deal with like stuff like I feel okay being black here. I feel okay being gay here. Like there's a whole bunch of like trauma that doesn't even there's a whole bunch of trauma that I don't even need to bring that, we don't need to have here, which is a whole other next level of self-care. Like praise the Lord. So yeah, that's my self-care journey. So we're gonna move on to the career segment. Thanks for listening. That was probably my longest hot topic episode. Um, and creating win for all solutions. So we've been doing the 15 commitments to conscious leadership series. We're on commitment 14. We're almost done. Commitment 14 is creating win for all solutions. I commit to creating win for all solutions, win for me, win for the other person, win for the organization, and win for the whole, for whatever issues, problems, concerns, or opportunities life gives me. So I think most people have heard about like let it be a win-win situation. And the book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, well, I'll link it to the show notes. They talk about win for all. Like in a win-win situation, it's like win for me, win for you. But what about win for those people? What about win for our business? What about win for our organization? And so it's like they're encouraging us to always search for solutions where everybody and everyone and everything wins. And that you may hear that and think like, well, that's asking a lot. And there lies the problem, because people always assume doom and gloom if things don't immediately roll out to them. Dave Ramsey, which is one of my favorite financial personalities, I guess, always says if we're needing to choose between two bad options, you need to find a third option. You can't just say like, oh, I'm either gonna live in my parents' basement or take out $200,000 in loans for grad school. Like you can't live in that kind of reality. You have to look for a third option. So win for all. So make that third option be a win for all solution where everybody wins. I know that's a little vague, but again, I link the summary to this book as well as the book in the show notes. Probably need to just read that one more, but expand the idea of making it a win-win to making it a win for all. Okay. All right, so now we're going to talk about what I'm geeked out about this week, which is 90 Day Fiancé, y'all. 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Season 6 specifically, that came out in 2024. I took notes. Okay, so I am so geeked out. As you can tell, my energy level is super high talking about it. Jolene and I started watching this a few days ago, and we've almost finished the whole season. And as you guys know, these episodes are at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and there's like 20 of them a season. So we've been spending so much time watching this, and I think 90 Day Fiancé, typically it's like an American marrying a non-American, and they're moving to America. The Other Way is when they move to the country of the non-American. So we got a few couples. There's Corona and Inge, where Corona is moving to Iceland. Shakina and Sarper, where Shakina is moving to Turkey. Josh and Lily, where Josh is moving to China. Tata and James, where James moved to Indonesia. Joanne and Sean, where Joanne is moving to Ireland. And so a lot of the show takes place in these foreign countries, which is cool. It's like Travel Channel plus, reality show plus dating show all together. So so why I want to talk about it, okay, these are real relationships, and most TV relationships that we see, especially on reality shows, are so fake. Like 90 Day Fiance has such a bad rap in terms of the quality relationship. Like these people really love each other. Like when's the last time you moved across the world for your love? Okay, let's be real. Okay, most people won't even sacrifice skipping their morning hit class for their spouse, where people are leaving families, leaving friends for themselves. Like these people are all in. Um, and no, people, I personally don't think anyone is trying to use anyone. They're just trying to be together, and the world makes that challenging. So these are, if you want to see what it's like to actually be in a real relationship where people are talking about money issues, people are talking about family and in-law issues, people are talking about kids and when to have them, and future and finances, like this is the show to watch, because so much stuff is so fake. On like Love is Blind, those relationships are fake. Perfect Match, like no one's talking about real issues, but 90 Day, props to 90 Day because they are so real. Another point is that Americans come off crazy and unhappy on this show. And because we were in Thailand and we're kind of going through our own 90 Day Fiance journey, we were already married, you guys, but like we left our home, and we're also trying to figure things out together as a married couple. There's a little distance, but Americans are look incredibly crazy and unhinged and unhappy, unhappy, and incapable of being unhappy, incapable of being happy. Like, it's really, really hard to watch. And I think in America, I would watch shows like that and be like, oh, these people are just responsible. These people are just practical, which are these American values, right? They have grit, you know what I mean, or whatever, you know. They're unhappy and they're crazy. They're literally unable to experience and enjoy life, and it's really, 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 really sad to watch. And it's healing for me to even watch this. Like there's some, I'm gonna go through each couple and just kind of like give you a brief synopsis. Spoiler alert for sure. But I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I'm just gonna like talk about like their biggest conflict, or what stood out to me, and like how it can relate to being American. So Corona and Inge. So Corona got accepted to University of Pennsylvania midwifery school and chose to turn it down to take a chance on love in Iceland with this guy that she's been friends, who knows, long distance relationship. I don't even want to be judgy right now. For less than a year, like less than 9 months, really. I think they've been together for 4 to 6 months, and she turned down her Ivy League masters to be with this man. And which in some ways it's like, yeah, you go girl, like choose love, but we don't know whether he's on the same page or is taking the relationship as seriously. But it's just kind of like I she's coming to, like, she can still do midwifery school in Iceland. It's just going to delay her timeline 2 years. In the grand scheme of life, that's not really a big deal, but she is going through huge panic and crisis right now. Um, because she turned down an Ivy League school. And so as you guys know, I went to an Ivy League, blah, blah, blah. But because people have no concept of what Ivy League is outside of the US, she has to describe it to her boyfriend as top 7 schools in the country. And it's like, first of all, 7 is such an arbitrary number. Like, no one cares about the top 7 schools in the country. They may care about the top 3, but no one's like, these are the top 7 cars of 2025. These are the top 7 places to live. Like, no, it's like top 10, or like, I mean, it's just like, it just seems so silly hearing her having to explain it to him like that. Like, we act like Ivy League is such a big deal, and it's while it's impressive, like literally no one cares. Like, you know what I mean? And she's literally going into anxiety over this. And obviously she didn't care either, or she He's in my top 7, LOL, Jay Snow. Right. So it's like she obviously didn't care either because she turned it down. Like she said her whole life she had been wanting to be a midwife, and she gets into her dream school and dips for this guy that she's only known for a few months. She doesn't even care about the Ivy League, obviously. So that's just an interesting couple. Then there's Statler and Dempsey, which, oh my gosh, like Statler and Dempsey are a lesbian couple, and Statler is the high anxiety. I have a job. I'm going to support us, but be really stressed about it. And Dempsey is the carefree, free spirit. Let's live in a van, and everything's going to be fine. And it's funny watching it because I can relate to Statler. There was a time I had anxiety, not like hers. Like she's definitely way more extreme. And I also like thought like the best thing I was doing ever was providing income through a job, no matter how I showed up, as long as I was providing income, that didn't matter, and justifying anything like moods, all stuff just based on like, well, I had to work, whatever, like highly relatable. I would say a lot of Americans come off as Statlers because, I mean, the craziest thing is that they're literally they're living in a van and they're traveling through Europe. And because of the time difference, she agreed to her boss to work 10 hours a day for 30 days straight. Like, absolutely insane. So we'll see where that goes. I can't even really get into Statler and Dempsey fully. Shakina and Sarper. Shakina is from LA, typical LA woman, looks like a Kardashian, moves to Turkey to be with Sarper. She's just so intense. Yes, Statler is just really, really intense. And my only question here is, where is her daughter? Like, where is Shakina's daughter? Are we going to see her? Because she has completely left her and abandoned her daughter to get a nose job and be with this random guy in Turkey. It's really weird. Why can't he come to the US? I don't understand. Okay, Josh and Lily. Josh is an American man who moves to China. Josh sold his American house and has his safety net and has his Chinese wife paying for everything, including home renovations to make his life more comfortable in China. And also they're really, 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 really fabulous over the top wedding. So that is what Josh and Lily are going through, and it's just like financial infidelity. Like, if you're sitting on a whole bunch of cash and you see your partner struggling and stressing about money, like, that is crazy. He also told her that he was poor, and they've been married for years. Like, even though they're just getting their traditional wedding now, like, they've been married. So this is crazy. He's committing financial infidelity by hiding money from her and just watching her slave for him. And her daughter clocked his tea, and he immediately says, well, I don't care about being in a positive relationship with your daughter. Like, crazy. Okay, so Tata and James. My Tata is Indonesian. James lives in Maine. Okay, and she lived in Maine with him for 3.5 years. He spends 2 months in Indonesia and wants to go back home. And because he wants to be able to support her and can't figure out how to support her in Indonesia. And I'm like, bro, have you done one Google search? Like, can you not teach English? He just wants to go back home. But it's also, the reality of millennials. He doesn't even want to have kids anymore. So like, she's going through all this trauma of not being mom and not wanting to go back to the US because she's really lonely there because he's working all the time, and he doesn't even want to have kids anymore with her because he can't afford it. And I think these are real issues. I think it's easy to watch the show and just judge him, but it is real. A lot of Americans, a lot of married couples that have really, really good jobs can't figure out how to have kids. How much is daycare? Like, how much is clothes, like food, everything? It's so expensive. And it's just like, unless you live with your parents, or depend on or ship your kid off to live with somebody. Like, and these are issues. Okay. It's a problem, and it's like, and I guess it's like, it is what it is. You can't focus on people who don't have, you got to just focus on you. You can't be worried about anybody. But like, my heart really goes out to the millennial generation, because and every generation, because life can be ghetto sometimes. And literally just figuring out how to expand a family. And I guess that's why kids are such a blessing, because it's a sign of abundance. It's a sign of you can afford, and that's why it's a goal. And that's why people should be stable so they can provide a good home and all. And that's why maybe families and kids are the flex that they are, because they're luxuries. And I think millennials are starting to realize things that we grew up thinking were necessities are actually luxuries, or like things that we were entitled to, whether it's like a home, a paid off car, a kid, multiple kids. Like, getting the reality that it's not just, it's way harder than we thought it would be to do it in the way that we want to do. Okay, and then the last couple is Joanne and Sean. Joanne is from New York and Sean is from Ireland. They both have kids. Sean has a daughter, Joanne has 2 sons, and she left her family to complete his family. That's all I wrote. And it's just really sad. It's really sad. And it's like, love is all you need. And this is why I say this is real relationships, because I didn't say it's real families. I said it's real relationships. Jay Snow says it's okay because she's in boarding school, in regards to Shakina. And I know that's what we think, but we actually don't know where she is, boo. We think that she's in boarding school. We hope she's in boarding school, but we have no idea where this daughter is. So yeah, Joanne left her 2 boys to stay with Sean and his daughter in Ireland. And Sean and Joanne didn't tell their family that for 2 years that they were married. What is going on? I don't, and it's like, obviously Joanne just wants to leave New York. She wants to leave her family. But it's just like, just to see that play out is rare. It's rare, and I'm not judging her. I know she has her reasons, but seeing her kids heartbreak over her leaving the country. Jillian says, and then we think, oh, my boys are upset. It's like, yeah, they're upset because you're abandoning them. Like, or she has a 12-year-old son and an 18-year-old. And I guess since they've been married for 2 years, they got married when she had a 10-year-old and a 16-year-old and didn't tell them. And now 2 years later, she was probably waiting till the oldest one turned 18, and now she's moving to Ireland. And she's saying, like, yeah, I'll do 2 weeks in the US and a month in Ireland. First of all, what? Why are you only, shouldn't it be a month in the US and 2 weeks in Ireland? Like, but it's like, you gotta do what you gotta do for love, and love is powerful. Love is all you need, and you are gonna make questionable decisions based on love, because without love, what else do you have? And going back to self-care, like, we're so love starved. um and I'm grateful that I have chosen to revolve my life around love. And these 90-day, the other way, people are also doing that. And it's like, and they're smiling and they're happy, you know what I mean? They feel complete. And I would say, check out 90-day the other way, if you want to see what real relationships look like, and what commitment looks like, and what showing up looks like, because they're doing really hard stuff. And a lot of us don't even a lot of people don't even let themselves get out of the comfort of being single to even experience, tough conversations in relationships. And like I said, like, people won't even give up their spin class in relationships, whereas these people are giving up their whole families, their whole lives. And so, yeah, okay, that was a really long episode. Thank you so much for rocking with me. It was so great to see everyone in the chats. I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you have a fabulous week. I will see you all next week. Happy April 1st, you guys. Love you all.